Greetings, family. Sister Shanice in the house. Welcome to the Sister Shanice News Desk. If you are a subscriber to this channel, thank you so much. Welcome. If you're not, please do subscribe. And if you are one of my Patreon supporters, thank you so much. Much appreciate your support. There is so much more that I'd love to be able to do. And with your support, you will help to make it possible. So thank you. A heartfelt thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Now, some of you may know I have recently produced a paper that you can get free of charge from academia.edu. The title of the paper is The Omission of an Ancient African Irish Population from Contemporary Western Education. We have been almost totally erased from the mainstream curriculum. And so it's so important for us to do the research ourselves and to put the information out there once we find it about our glorious past. Well, family, today's news story is about the coup in Gabon. The coup in Gabon comes about a month after the coup in Niger, which happened on the 26th of July. And that story has been center stage for almost all of that time. And just before the coup in Niger, there was the coup in Burkina Faso that happened on the 23rd of January 2022. Prior to that, we had the coup in Guinea. And prior to that, there was the coup in Mali on the 24th of May 2021. So we have seen 5 coups within the last couple of years in the West African region. What is significant about that? Well, what's really significant is that all of these countries were former French colonies, and we're all very aware of the extent of the exploitation and the suffering that the people have been enduring for the last 50 to 60 years under French colonialism. Well, didn't the Marcus Messiah Garvey leave a message for us as a people? What did he say? He said so much. And if you don't know about the great man, Marcus Messiah Garvey, I would implore you to get a copy of the book that talks about his philosophies, ideologies for us as a people. He gives us the framework that we need as a people in terms of how we think. And he said that he would be coming back to help free the Africans and for us to get back our captured lands. He said, look for me in the whirlwind or the storm. Look for me all around you. For with God's grace, I shall come and bring with me countless millions of Black African slaves who have died in America and the West Indies, and the millions in Africa, to aid you in the fight for liberty, freedom, and life. Very importantly, he recognized, however, following that fight for freedom and liberty, it's absolutely essential that we emancipate our minds from mental slavery. Because if we fail to emancipate our minds, we will find ourselves back into the clutches of the former colonizers. Why is that? Because he recognized that the most important weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the minds of the oppressed. Because if you can control a man's thinking, you can control the actions of the man himself. Hence why we have to free our minds and be liberated mentally as we go forward in the next century towards a free and liberated Africa. Well, as we know, the country of Gabon had been ruled by the same family for over 54 years, over half a century, a country which is rich in mineral resources, yet the people are poor. This is the same situation that the other African countries that have recently had a coup as well, all complained of. So here we are now today looking at Gabon. The military officers there have declared a coup after Ali Bongo won another very disputed election. But this time the military decided that they're not prepared to accept the election results. And so they announced that they announced on the television that they were going to be cancelling the election results, and that was going to deny the president a third term of office. They declared that it's time for change, and they have taken the action that they felt is necessary to bring about the change. The people are on the streets celebrating. We are from the diaspora are celebrating with the people. We don't want our celebrations to be premature, because we do know sometimes all is not always as it appears to be, but we are optimistic and we are hoping that the people who have taken over the Gabon administration have the interests of the people at heart. The Gabon army officers have already said that they are taking control, and they've claimed to seize power because they've been concerned about the way the country has been run. The officers said on the television, Gabon 24, that they represented all Gabonese security and defense forces. They said that the election results were cancelled. All borders were closed until further notice, and the state institutions are dissolved. And even though they said they represent the security and defense forces, let's hope that they also mean that they represent the people of Gabon as well. So they've closed the borders. The country's been taken over by the armed military forces. They claim that the recent election results were falsified. I would expect them to know they would have been at the heart of the elections that was taking place and would have seen, you know, all the shenanigans that was going on, if there was any. They have maintained that the Bongo family that have been in power for over 53 years, as we have all seen, seems to have ignored the suffering of most of the people. So who are the Bongo family members that have been in power for over 50 years? Well, firstly, there was Omar Bongo, the Gabonese politician. He was the second president of Gabon for almost 42 years, from 1967. His political survival was despite the intense opposition to his rule until his death in 2009. And then he was succeeded by his son Ali Bongo. Ali Bongo, a Gabonese politician who, on the death of his father, became the third president of Gabon from 2009. The general elections were held recently on the 26th of August in Gabon, and the incumbent president, Ali Bongo, ran for the re-election and was declared the winner of the former French colony on the 29th of August. The people decided that this is just too much, and so the Gabon military declared a coup and annulled the 2023 election results. So the military, it's reported, has stepped in, and the officers say that they have taken power and they've put the president, Ali Bongo, on Damiba under house arrest, as the country becomes the latest in Africa to suffer an attempted coup, only weeks after the militias troops seized power in Niger. So live on Gabon television, this is what the military officers had declared. They declared that on this day, the 30th of August, 2023, we defense and security forces, reunited within the Committee for the Transition and Restoration of the Institutions, CRTI, on behalf of the Gabonese people and as a grantor of the protection of the institutions, have decided to defend the peace by ending the regime in place. For the purpose of the general elections of the 28th of August, as well as the falsified results, are cancelled. Borders are closed until further notice. All institutions of the Republic are dissolved, in particular the government, the Senate, the National Assembly, the Constitutional Court, the Social and Environmental Council, the Gabonese Election Council, all closed. So let's take a little look at Gabon itself. Well, the current population is around 2.4 million. And it is a part of the world that is minerally rich. It has precious stones, precious metals. It's also a major oil producing country and a net oil exporter. So as well as having, an abundance of oil, I'll tell you a little bit about some of the natural minerals and resources that it also has. So in terms of precious metals, Gabon has gold and silver. Precious stones, it has diamonds. In terms of base metals, it has iron ore, zinc, lead, titanium, tungsten, chromium. Minerals, it's got manganese, uranium, neodymium, phosphate, marble, cement, talc. And in terms of rare earth minerals, it's got copper and titanium, as well as the oil that I have also already mentioned. But despite all of this wealth, the same picture emerges. The few live a very wealthy and prosperous life in Gabon, whilst the vast majority of the population remains poor. So when you consider the amount of oil that Gabon actually produces on a daily rate, you would expect there to be, quite a healthy living standards. Well, the poverty headcount, according to one of the reports I looked at, said that the poverty headcount ratio is $5.50 per day. That is the percentage of the amount that the population is actually living on. They're living on less than £5.50 a day, and that was as of 2021. There's also another poverty rate that was given for 2017 that said that 31.2% of the population was actually living in poverty. Wow. This is a very rich country, small population. They should be living very wealthily indeed, but after 50 plus years of rulership under the same family, that is clearly not the case. So what do we want to see as a people? But I think all of us as Africans, wherever we are in the world, would want to see the Gabonese, as well as the people all over Africa, experience a better quality of life. We want to see the people uplifted. We want to see Africa uplifted. We want to see living standards improved. The state of the arts, we need state of the art educational facilities and institutions. We need the country to be studying the minerals and the precious stones and the oils that it actually possesses. We want our people to become the producers of these minerals. So it's not only about producing the raw material, but it's also about creating the factories that actually do the added value works to these oils and these minerals and precious stones. We want the country to have food security, quality housing, and improved infrastructure. And of course, the military, we feel, needs to be taking steps towards putting in place independent, separate institutions, systems, and organizations that can transform the country into becoming the world's first-class country. This is what we want for our people. Now, we know things can go wrong, but, what we hope is that those who have taken power have done so not for selfish means, but for the people. Let's begin to see the transformation. Let's begin to see also on a African-wide scale, African countries coming together, building empires. So instead of your own small little country, be part of an African empire. Be part of the Mali, Burkina Faso, Guinea empire, as it was in the days of the Mali Empire. We're talking about empires. We're not talking about small little countries anymore. Let's build empires. This generation of young people are absolutely formidable. They're not prepared to tolerate the impoverishment that their fathers tolerated. They've seen too many of their friends and their people, and they know too many people who have died in the deserts trying to reach greener pastures, who have died climbing the Alps trying to reach greener pastures, who've died in the Mediterranean seas trying to reach greener pastures. Well, now it's time for those green pastures to be right where they are on their own homeland. So we watch with anticipation and optimism to see the transformations that's going to be taking place on the motherland as a result of these coups. Of course, protect your leaders, protect your people, come together as one army, one economy, one passport, one great nation. The empire of Mali is coming back. Sister Shanice, out of here for now.